Okay, today, a long-awaited video. Andy's too lazy to come out for the intro.
I'm not getting out.
We are going to review all the Dutchware Chameleon accessories
that we have.
And we have almost all of them.
There's a few we don't have.
There's a few we don't have, but we have most of them. People always ask us about them, so we're going to run through. We'll put them all in the hammock. We will throw you the specs. We'll tell you which ones we really like, which ones we think is our must-haves for this hammock. But this has been a long-awaited video. We've had this hammock for over a year now. Yep. And over the course of that year, we've just been buying more accessories. Yep. So we're gonna run through them all, and then, yeah, I don't know. So the first accessory we're gonna talk about is the sidecar. Now, Andy and I, the first hammock we ever actually bought were the Warbonnet Blackbirds. And one thing we still love about that hammock, and is just an ingenious design, is the shelf that the hammock has on it. So if you've never seen, you can check out, we do a review of the Warbonnet Blackbird, check it out. You can see what the shelf is. This is kind of the Dutchware equivalent of the shelf. And what this does is it zips onto your hammock and gives you a little storage shelf right here, which I personally really like. And another cool thing about the shelf is you can change where it is on the hammock itself. So if you want it here, you can have it here. If you want it on the other side of your head, you can do that. So the one cool thing about this is on the Warbonnet, the shelf is kind of right here, so you have to reach up and into it. But with this, the shelf is right here. So when you're sleeping, you can just reach down into it. It's huge. I'll show you how much stuff you can fit in there. You can fit a lot of stuff. It's massive. Now they make a couple different shelf options, and we'll get into it. This one is not integrated into the bug net. So this is a standalone that zips right onto the hammock. And then it has its own set of tie-outs that you can tie out to the ground. I personally really like this. Andy doesn't use it so much. When they came out, we bought them right away because we love the shelves on the Warbonnets so much. I still use mine. I really like it. I'm kind of an organizational freak, so at night, I like having all the things I need in here, like water, extra clothes, some camera gear. All that stuff is right by my head, so it's perfect. I would definitely recommend this if you're someone who is coming from a Warbonnet and you liked the shelf in the Warbonnet. Definitely get this. This one is not integrated, but let's check out the one that is. So this is an example of an integrated sidecar. This is integrated into a winter top cover. Now, the obvious answer here is if you're someone that thinks you're going to use a sidecar all the time like me, get an integrated one. The obvious advantage being it's lighter and it's easier to deal with. You don't have this extra zipper on your hammock. Dutch makes one that's integrated into the bug net too. So that's probably the one you're going to look at unless you're doing winter camping a lot. This one is integrated into the winter top cover. We'll show you what it looks like on the inside right now. Very similar to the other one. I do think this hangs a little bit better off the hammock when it's integrated into the top cover or bug net. The other one kind of hangs down more like that, but this one, because it's attached to the top cover, kind of pulls it up a little bit, which I think is really cool. You can't see the other side of this, but it's his winter top cover. So it's the winter top cover just with a little protrusion. Now maybe a disadvantage to this integrated one here, you can't access the sidecar from the outside of the hammock right here, versus on the other one, you can unzip it and go right into it. Might not be a deal breaker, not a deal breaker for me. I generally put everything in through the hammock, but as you can see, you can't access it from the outside, so that may be a pro or con. But as I said, if you're someone who thinks you're going to use a sidecar all the time, like me, you should consider getting one integrated into something. It's lighter, easier to deal with, and I think hangs a little bit better off the hammock. So the easily the best accessory for this hammock, and one that's so good I just feel like it should be default on the hammock, is the Peak Loft.
By far.
By far the best accessory. If you have a Chameleon, buy a Peak Loft. They're cheap, they're light. Now installing them, you do have to take apart your hammock a little bit and feed it through the ridgeline. Dutch has a good video on how to do that. It's not a big deal. Get a Peak Loft, they're amazing. Basically, you can fit a ton of stuff in it. You can scrunch it up so it's out of the way. You can flay it out so you can put a bunch of stuff in there. It's truly an ingenious design. At one point I had 2 Peak Lofts on my hammock before I had a sidecar, because as you know, I'm an organizational freak. But Easily the best accessory, easily one we're gonna recommend regardless of where you're camping, who you're camping with, your style of camping. Get a peak loft, cheap, light, easy to install. You're gonna need some sort of organization system inside your hammock most likely, and a peak loft is just that. So easily our favorite accessory, just get one.
Okay, so this is another beloved accessory of ours. This is the winter top cover for the Chameleon. Both Kevin and I own these. As you can see, just the same material covering the top of the Chameleon, and then it's got the mesh vent where your face goes. We've both used these multiple times. We love them. We get about 5 extra degrees of warmth in it. They're meant to be used in cold weather to kind of hold in your body heat. It does work, and Kevin and I would both say that if you're going to be consistently camping below 40 degrees, just get a top cover. Get it for whatever hammock you got. Most manufacturers make some type of top cover for their hammocks, but we love this top cover and we do use them quite a bit. One nice thing about the Chameleon is that you can buy the top covers later. You don't have to buy them at the time when you order your Chameleon. Some manufacturers, they like to build the top covers at the same time they build your hammock, which is totally cool. But the nice thing about the Chameleon is, you know, buy the Chameleon, then maybe down the road you do some cold weather stuff, go ahead and pick up top cover. So our newest accessory for the Chameleon is the winter symmetrical top cover with the Moonlight feature. So the cool thing about this is that since it's symmetrical, you can actually sleep on either side of it without flipping the top cover around. So, you know, maybe one night you want to do head left, feet right, or head right, feet left. You don't have to flip around the top cover to do that.
So this is how this thing works. This is pretty cool. So you can see Andy manipulating the Moonlight option inside there, and you still got bug net obviously. But right now, and it's a really cold 84 degrees right now, so Andy's sweating like crazy right now.
Sweat box in here.
But look at that, isn't that sweet? So you can pull that entire thing back.
Yeah, you can actually hook it up to the D-rings in here too to like keep it back. I've just got it tucked away in the peak loft right now, but for those super cold trips, you can cover this back up and, you know, get some more heat savings. And I can tell you right now, this is much warmer with this closed than the regular winter top cover without the Moonlight feature. And then also, remember how I said it was symmetrical, so I can switch sides, decide I want to sleep on the other side of it, and
nice.
Yeah, works just fine.
There's a good shot of what it looks like with someone in the hammock. We've got it zipped off now because Andy was dying in there. But that's the Moonlight top cover. I think it's awesome. I really like how much more bug netting you have on this than the other top cover. So in winter, this is the go-to because you have the option to vent it as much as you want. You could totally change and modulate how much exposure you have here, which I think is really sweet. So, in terms of top covers, if you are someone who is going to use the top cover a lot, consider something like this. If you're someone that just goes and maybe does one or two nights a year where the temps are below 40, I don't know if you necessarily need something this cool, but it is better. This is better than a regular top cover. It's just heavier and more expensive. But we really like this design, and I think it's an ingenious way to do this. So that's the Moonlight top cover. Like I said, if you're someone that does a ton of winter camping, consider getting this over the regular top cover. Just in general though, you probably want to get a top cover. But that's it. That's all the accessories we have. We didn't talk about the bug net being an accessory just because we don't really consider that an accessory, even though it technically is. He does make a couple other things we don't have. Ridgeline organizers. He makes a pouch that hangs off the edge here. So you can look at those if you want something that's a smaller storage option than the things we've shown. But in summary, if you have a Chameleon, just buy it with a peak loft. That's the one accessory you should just buy. And then if you are someone who does a lot of winter camping, definitely check out the Moonlight top cover over the regular top cover. If you're someone who just maybe winter camps once a year, every other year, definitely get a top cover. We are very pro top cover, regardless of whether you have a Chameleon or not. Top cover helps a ton in the winter. It does trap a little bit more moisture, but the heat savings are well worth it. So that's it. That's the Chameleon accessories. You know, we love this hammock, and I love the fact that it's so modular, and then you can buy all these things after the fact if you really want them and add them on. It's just a really cool hammock system. But that's an overview of the accessories. We hope you all enjoyed it. Let us know what you think of your Chameleon accessories, and we will see everyone on the next one.